G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. I do hope you enjoyed today's bloody good episode, and with that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn with Barbie. Let's get right into it. Cheers. Posted by user BeigeDonut19, titled, Am I the asshole for telling my husband that he shouldn't be upset when my daughter said that her uncle would be the one to walk her down the aisle on her wedding day? I, female 46, got pregnant with my daughter Sarah, female 26, when I was in college. My parents and my then boyfriend's parents pushed us to marry, which we did. My late husband unfortunately passed away a week after our daughter's second birthday because of a heart complication that we didn't know he even had. It was a very hard time for me, and I went through a very bad depression. 4 years later, I met my now husband, Robert, male 46, on a blind date set up by a friend. He was one of my best friend's cousins. We hit it off and got married a year later. Even when we were dating, he was very hands-on with my daughter, and it didn't take too long for my daughter to call him Papa. Even until we got married, and when I got pregnant 2 years into the marriage and gave birth to twins, male 17 and female 17, he still acted like a father to Sarah. She was even included in my husband's family reunions and the cousin group photo shoot that my in-laws organize every Christmas. Things took a bit of a turn when Sarah turned 18. She started calling him by his first name, and both Robert and I were taken aback with the change of attitude that she was displaying. I asked Robert what that was about, but he only shrugged, not knowing the reason either. I thought things would go back to normal, but she's been consistent in calling him by his first name. So I asked her if we could talk. Robert asked if he could join, which Sarah agreed. To make a long story short, my daughter overheard my husband talking about a Father's Day trip to his friend who owns a hostel. His friend asked him if he forgot to include Sarah since my husband only asked him to prepare 3 bedrooms. My husband replied that he planned this trip for his real children only. It wouldn't make sense if Sarah was on the trip since he wasn't her real father. This made Sarah feel betrayed and hurt because she saw him as her real dad even if she knew that he was her stepdad. My husband tried to explain to her that though he loves her as a father, his love for the twins was different since they were his real children. I wanted to just shut him up because he was overusing the word real, but Sarah told us to leave her room. What made that day even more depressing was that this day was her last week with us before she leaves the country for college. Since then, every time she comes home, Sarah acts like nothing happened, but continues to call Robert by his first name. Robert didn't want to add fuel to the fire and just tolerated it. And now, a few years since then, my daughter announced her engagement to her longtime boyfriend. We were very happy for her, as they've been dating since they were still college freshmen. 2 weeks before their wedding, we were wondering who would be walking Sarah down the aisle. I assumed it would be Robert since I thought we have moved past that incident. But no. My daughter scoffed at me when I told her about Robert walking her down the aisle. She said, I thought it was obvious that Uncle Greg, my late husband's brother, would be the one to do that. Besides, I'm not his real daughter. It wouldn't make sense if he walked me down the aisle. I didn't talk back. Instead apologized for my ignorance and told her that I'll speak with Robert about it, since he also assumed that he'd be the one to walk her down the aisle. When I told him what Sarah said, he was pissed, but I politely reminded him of the incident years ago, which made him even more upset. He said that it was a long time ago, and that Sarah should just move on. I, who was offended for my daughter, told him that he shouldn't be upset, since he doesn't see her as his real child anyway. He then got teary-eyed and told me not to speak to him. He still attended Sarah's wedding but looked visibly down. We still aren't on good terms and have been pretending in front of relatives. My daughter doesn't know about this and I want to keep it that way. But nevertheless, it's been a week since my daughter's wedding and Robert is still upset. He only talks to me about the twins and household stuff, but beyond that, he keeps everything to himself. I feel really bad and think he's acting this way because of me. So, without being said, am I the asshole? In the comments, Dry Sandwich 860 says, Robert brought this on himself. He acted as her father from the time she was 2 years old, so he is the only father she has ever been aware of. Yet he called her not his real child, and was careless and cruel enough to do so where she overheard him. Of course, the consequences of that mean attitude is that she doesn't consider him to be her dad. He created this situation. Now he's continuing to be immature and cruel by punishing you for stating the reality of the situation. I think you need to talk to him, and because of his immature attitude, you should probably do it in the presence of a mediator, like a family therapist, if you can afford one. If you can't afford one, I would show him this. He will hurt this relationship with you if he doesn't man up and take responsibility. He could have been doing his best to repair the damage that his cruel comment made, but he didn't bother. So of course Sarah assumes that nothing's changed. He is not the wronged person here. She is. Agreed. Beyond repairing the damage, he said she wasn't his real child. There is no repairing that. The only thing he should have been doing was accepting the consequences of his actions. Words. It's not even like Sarah iced him out. She just stopped herself from continuing to view him as a dad. Nothing about this post indicates that she was disrespectful. Good for OP for trying to hold him accountable, because he seems to want to erase a monumental part of his past. He literally asked for it. This is the only situation where this phrase makes actual sense. I didn't even spot any mention of multiple groveling apologies from Robert. He just expected her to get over it. Or the thing is, most people don't even ask for groveling. They just need a genuine apology and a promise to do better. It looks like Robert couldn't even do that. This stands out to me as well. It must have hurt Sarah deeply to be rejected as a child by the person she considered her father. So Robert is far from the victim here. He needs to apologize and talk to Sarah yesterday. And the same counts for OP. She just assumed they'd moved on from this. But OP needs to talk to her daughter about this incident. It must have caused her daughter a ton of pain, and you shouldn't just ignore these feelings. Sadly, he needed to talk to Sarah years ago when it happened. He's way too late now. Not the asshole. How would he feel if you said he wasn't your real husband since your first spouse passed? This, as his wife, I would definitely feel like saying this to him. Not that it should be said, but that's how mad I would be. Yeah, I agree with you with that. I mean, you can probably dance around a subject like that. You don't have to be so mean as to say, you're not my real husband because the original one passed away. Though it definitely parallels that same situation. That husband has a blood connection to OP's daughter, whereas he doesn't. Therefore, let's put two and two together here, my man. I understand why Robert is upset, but I don't think he has any right to be upset, and I think it's unrealistic for him to expect everything to be hunky-dory. I think he's lacking emotional intelligence in this, and a spine. If he had more emotional intelligence, awareness, and a backbone, he would have immediately drawn back exactly what he said, apologized, and done the right thing, because if you can understand how it feels to be told those things, you can understand how that feels and what kind of effect those words would have on your psyche and your entire worldview. Like, she would have been crushed by that. And this man just said, "Not my circus, not my monkeys. Anyway, I'm not apologizing. I'm just going to forget this happened." I think, to me, it kind of speaks to when people are bullied in high school and the victims of bullying remember what that person said and how that made them feel, and that sticks with them their whole life. But for the bullies, that's just another day in paradise. They completely forget that any of these events even happen. This is just another situation for me where it's like, as the wife, how do you stay with someone like this without processing that situation thoroughly? Please don't take it as me victim blaming here, but how did it get to this point where nothing has been said? How did you not force any conversations, any hard talks between those two, seeing the situation as it is? I just want clarity on that, and I don't think I'm going to get clarity. Anyway, not the arsehole, OP. And now onto the update. It's Sarah responding. "Hi guys, I'm Sarah. This is not my Reddit account, it's my cousin's from my bio father's side. My cousin sent me this post while my husband and I were packing some stuff for our honeymoon earlier, and she thought it was my mum. My cousin is one of my go-to people, so she knows every single drama in my life. We are really tight. I was skeptical at first since I would have never thought of my mother using Reddit. It's just too random. Until I read the overheard part of the post, and it just brought back very good memories. On top of that, I noticed that the fake names used are based on the first letters of our real names. It gave me the confirmation that this is my mum. I just want to say that I don't appreciate that some of you are calling my mum an asshole, but I also don't think it's your fault since mum left out a lot of details. After I left for college in the States, a lot of things happened. My cousin, the owner of this account, was the one filling me up with updates. That just sounds weird. Don't say filling up. Please don't say filling up like that. So, Mum and Robert had a huge fight regarding me. Plus, Robert always came home late and drunk from the cockpit. I hope he wasn't flying. The twins, well, they were shielded from the drama because they were children. They kind of separated for like a year. My mum went to live with her parents. I was always in contact with my mum, and she always asked for my whereabouts. You know, normal mum stuff. She also kind of filled me in about her separation from Robert. I actually felt guilty because I knew it was because of me. Their biggest fight was when Uncle Greg, I'm all Greg, I'll be using fake names that Mum used to not add confusion, confronted Robert about the incident because when I arrived at my university dorm, I called him sobbing and told him about everything. Uncle Greg is the typical cool single uncle and has always been protective of us cousins. So when he learned about it, he went full-on Papa Bear mode for me. Robert was kind of mad that he was getting into our business. Mum told Robert that Uncle Greg, actually, my cousins and I call him Dada because he really is like our second parents, also has a say in this since he's family, but Robert wasn't happy about it. So yeah, that insinuated a big argument that almost led to Robert and Uncle Greg having a fist fight. They were already throwing unkind words to each other, and everyone was just emotional. When I learned about what happened, like I mentioned, I felt guilty and bad. So I sent Robert an email since he doesn't use Messenger. In the email, I told him that he should apologize to Mum and make things right for the twins. I didn't receive any response from him, but eventually he and Mum made up after a year. I was quite happy because I really didn't want to ruin my mum's marriage. I love my mum so much, and I'd do anything for her. You might be wondering why my mum didn't initiate divorce. Well, first of all, divorce is still illegal in my country. Second, annulment is extremely expensive, and even if we were kind of well off, my mum's a physical therapist and a teacher at a university, while Robert used to be a public accountant until I was 16 and owns a commercial space. Their pockets would have hurt, and annulment takes a lot of time to process. Today, I reached out to them, and I told them that I wanted a proper conversation because this has been long overdue. I think we all need some closure. I do want to note that I have moved on, but forgive? I don't think so. It pisses me off that Robert thinks that I can just move on, forgive, and forget. It's hard to think that this was the man that I used to call Papa, when even more sad is that I still see him as my Papa. The pain I felt that day, and when I started calling him by his first name. I even wanted to major in accountancy because of him. He was my role model. There were a lot of moments where I just wanted to go back to that day and pretend I didn't hear anything and just let it slide. Then maybe I'd still call him Papa. But I would be an idiot for thinking that, because no matter what, the damage has already been done. So yeah, I'm contemplating if I would update you guys on our talk tomorrow. I've texted my mum to not look over the comments here because some of you are just brutal. Sorry, I just don't want my mum to feel bad. P.S. I wanted to add that both my mum and Robert paid for my college tuition. I did not get loans or anything. Student loans are uncommon in our country. Parents are always the one paying. I'm actually grateful that Robert helped pay, but that still doesn't remove the pain. My husband has been really patient and supportive. A little trivia, we were classmates in high school. I was the talkative girl in class, social butterfly, and he was one of those goofballs. And we actually fought a lot back then. And we eventually developed feelings for each other throughout freshman year. We were surprised that we went to the same university. We were both catching up on each other's lives, and yeah, the rest was history. In the comments, Brian124 says, I want to say that you've handled everything insanely well. Your stepfather's a really crappy dude, and I'm so glad that he was only a guest at your wedding, because that's the only thing he is, a guest in your life. He isn't family, and he's a pretty crappy person for what he said about you. I'm glad you have your mum and your uncle and your cousin in your life. Your mum can do way better. I would have a conversation with them and set some boundaries. You will let Robert know that you will not treat him or address him as a father, and nor will your children. This was something he wanted, and you were simply respecting his wish as you were not his real daughter. You can still have a cordial relationship with him for the sake of your mum and siblings, but he should know that things will never be the same. You can express how much his words hurt you at the time, but you are strong and will move past that. Do not let him play victim because he didn't walk you down the aisle, because that was a decision that he made the day when he said that you weren't his real daughter. He wants you to treat him like a father, but he doesn't think of you as a daughter. Opie's mum comes in to reply and says, "Hello everyone. I would like to thank everyone for your advice and comments. My daughter found and commented on my post, and we'll be talking about this tomorrow. She had just messaged me earlier. I was feeling tired today and couldn't sleep, so I was able to write this. I also want to thank the people for calling me out. I know that I'm not the best mother, but I try. But yes, I am an asshole for tolerating him. I don't know what will happen in our talk tomorrow, but I do want everyone to have closure. I also want to add that my daughter and I do not have a strained relationship. She didn't want me to walk down the aisle because then Robert would be pushing her to let him walk her too, since he thought that we're a package. I'll try to update, but it would be difficult since I know it's going to be emotional." Maru says, "I'm always skeptical of people randomly finding posts. I don't know anyone in my life who even knows what Reddit is, but this one does sound believable. I don't get Robert, honestly. Why being the perfect dad for decades only to ruin it like this? But he made his bed and now has to lie on it. Divorce is illegal where they're from, so I have a pretty good idea where that is. Machismo runs rampant. Robert didn't father her and he never forgot it. Although it sounds like she was loved and accepted as much as one could hope to be as a stepchild, he would never see her as his real child. Annulment in their situation also sounds extremely unlikely. The only reason my fiancé got one was because her spouse beat her viciously every chance he got and threatened to kill her over Messenger constantly, also beating her children and making her unable to see her children for over a decade in fear of her life. Even then, we were terrified that it wouldn't be accepted. Also, if he didn't want the annulment to be approved, he would simply have to say he didn't want the annulment as well, and that's grounds for automatically denying the petition. One side has to be against it for it to be legal. They even spend government resources investigating to make sure that there is no collusion." Our next post is by user CInfluence2559, titled, "Am I the asshole here for suggesting a threesome to my date who brought a friend along and then expected me to pay? I've been talking to Denise for a couple of weeks, and our schedules finally aligned last weekend. I said we should get food and see where it goes. She didn't want me to pick her up, so we arranged to meet up. I got there early and had a beer while I waited. When she showed up, she had a friend along. I thought maybe that was her ride, or she wanted someone to meet me in case things got sketchy. Nope. The girl sat with us at the restaurant. She ordered drinks and a meal. She was cool, and I enjoyed talking to her almost as much as with Denise. When the bill came, the waitress asked how we were paying. I asked for a couple of seconds. The waitress left and I asked Denise what was going on. She said that her friend was along to make sure that I was a good guy and that I should be paying for her too. I said that I'd only asked her out and not the friend, and that I would not be paying for her. Denise said that I should be trying to impress her, and I was failing. I saw what was going on and decided to bounce. I said that I would pay for supper if a threesome was on the table. Denise and her friend got offended and said that I was a pig. When the waitress came back, I paid for my meal and drinks. I also made sure to give her a cash tip and explained that it was a tip and to not be applied to the rest of the bill. Then I got up and left. Denise texted and called me dozens of times to insult me and call me cheap. I may have been vulgar, but I don't think I was in the wrong. Am I the asshole here? In the comments, Less Than 1968 says, "I can't help but be curious. What if they did say yes to a threesome? OP says, probably freaked out. But you would have paid, right? And OP says, yes. I like the cut of your jib. Nervous, confused, maybe a little nauseous, but still willing to give it a go. That's crazy. Still willing to give it a go. My guy. It's funny how she says that you have to pay for her friend so she feels safe. And it's also funny how she says you need to impress her and failed. At the same time, she's not concerned at all what kind of impression she leaves and how she also needs to respect you to be taken seriously. Not the asshole, you did really well. Unfortunately, a lot of people nowadays believe that they are the prize and can do no wrong. Many don't take accountability or responsibility for their actions or what they say. Like I said, it's unfortunate that people don't believe that it's a two-way street. It's not surprising. Shitty women like OP encountered have a sort of god complex going on where they think guys should put them up on a pedestal and kiss their ass just because they are women. Honestly, even as a woman, I'm upset about her and her friend's behavior. I'd understand the friend coming to check you out, even her sitting at the bar or a different table to check you out and for safety, but to sit at the table with you two feels weird. Then for them both to expect you to pick up the whole tab is ridiculous. I honestly giggled at the way that you handled it with the joke about the threesome because it shows how ridiculous their expectations were. It also allowed for a decent getaway. Block her and be done with it, not the asshole. Not the asshole. I'm not one for hookup since I'm old and ugly. Hey, come on. But if I was getting together, seems to be when you hook up. If she brought another girl along for you to pay for, it wasn't unreasonable. But you weren't doing it as a real suggestion, you were doing it to screw with them. OP says, yeah, it wasn't a serious suggestion. I would not know how to handle two women at once. I'm not that guy. I'm unsure of the comedian who said it, but they said, if I wanted to disappoint two people at the same time, I'd ring my parents. Whoa, let's not get them in on it now, come on. But in all seriousness, I feel like that was a good strategy to say that. Because the downside would be a threesome and disappointing two people at once, obviously, but the upside is that the most likely case is, what happened here? You get to put a little bit of minor disrespect on top of their major disrespect. And fortunately, two wrongs made a right in this situation, and you dodged a bullet, so the saying goes. I think someone's been watching a bit too many girl boss gatekeep gaslight videos where the man is expected to make a good impression, yeah, because I am the prize. I don't have to do shit. I can do everything wrong. I'm testing that man. If he ain't got his money, he ain't getting no honey. That's right. Click, 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 click. But as it goes, I don't think you did anything wrong. I thought it was really funny. So I'm giving you a not the arsehole for this one. And now, on to the update. Strange update. I ran into Denise's friend while I was out with my dog about a week ago. I prepared myself for a verbal assault after our last encounter. Instead, she apologized. She said that it had been Denise's idea for her to come along, and she had been surprised when Denise expected me to pay the full bill. She said that she had thought that I was a toxic asshole for suggesting a threesome, but that she had seen the story on TikTok and recognized that it was my point of view. She tracked down the post on Reddit, and the comments stung, but that they had been fair. She said that she had enjoyed talking to me and offered to take me out for supper, her treat, to make up for lost time. I declined, but I offered to let her buy me a coffee at the dog-friendly cafe by the park. We had a really great time, and she's the sort of person that I was looking for when I'd asked out Denise. I got her information, and we've been talking for a week now. We're gonna go see Twisters on Friday, my treat. So something good came out of it. That's all, and wish me luck. What a twist. This is not an advertisement for the movie Twisters coming out on Friday. That's not what this is. It's not an advertisement. Don't go watch the movie Twisters on Friday, okay, guys? In the comments, No Lavishness says, I did not see that coming. I hope the movie date goes well. Good luck. The date will be great. Good luck. I love Reddit comments like that. It's so inane, but so funny. Good luck, it's gonna go great, as long as Denise doesn't show up. Ah, shit. That would be funny if the two women showed up. Nasty, but funny. Seriously though, hopefully it goes well. Every day we stride closer to the dead internet theory, I swear to God. Plot twist, you're just playing the long game, and you totally need to bring one of your bros to your date with her. OP says, no. Like I said last time, my sex life is as vanilla as you could imagine. Bro, just some advice. She found your first post. She'll find this one too. I hope you asked her if she's okay with aspects of your relationship being posted on Reddit, because I wouldn't be. Not criticism. Your post was awesome. I just don't want to read about your relationship going in the shitter because of an oversight. I laughed when he said that he would have freaked out had they said yes, but I hope he confirmed that this was a two-person date to avoid repeats of the situation. I'm just imagining him paying for the date, getting back to his place, and being unable to get hard. Wow, what are the chances he saw her again? Me, realizing I now live in a small town where if you have beef with Susan on Saturday, the universe automatically aligns so that you see her in the produce aisle on Tuesday. Truth. I grew up in a town where my graduating class in high school had less than 30 people, and we were an exceptionally large class, and it was public school. All's well that ends well in this one, but I was really hoping for the strange update to be about a threesome OP, and you have really sullied my expectations with this normal yet unexpected twist. Did I mention Twist is coming out on Friday? Unaffiliated, by the way, it's not an ad read. Congratulations, OP. I hope all goes well. I mean, it's very unexpected that the date that pissed you off ended up being a good thing. But in the future, when you guys are married and have kids, this is going to be one hell of a story to tell to your kids. Especially how you went to watch Twist afterwards. You can bring that up as your yearly tradition movie to watch with the kids. It's going to be epic. Anyway, guys, I do hope you enjoyed that episode today. I know I did, because it's one of those ones where I just find everything funny for no goddamn reason. So, yeah, I have nothing else to say. Have a good night, day, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.